Hello, welcome to Cotswold Bees. Now it's winter in the UK at the moment, so it's rather difficult to actually be making any beekeeping videos. So what we thought we'd do is we'd have a look at a few questions that people have asked. And so we're going to have a fireside chat about beekeeping. And the first question we're going to consider is, do bees hibernate? Well, the honest answer to that is no. So that's going to be a really quick video. But we really want to think about what the bees are doing in the hive during the winter while we're not able to see anything flying. So I'm just going to finish making this cup of tea and then we'll pop in, have a sit by the fire and have a chat about bees in winter. The only trouble is we've got to do a little bit of negotiation before we actually get to sit in the chair, but you'll see that in a second. You're going to move then, Eddie? You're going to get out of there, Ed? Eddie? You're going to move? No, okay. Eddie, you're a highly trained gun dog. Come on, shift. Come on, shift. Come on, I want to sit there. I've got to talk to people. Are you going to move or not? Okay, well, don't get me wrong, I don't normally let him do that. I mean, I'm the boss really, but he's not been well recently, so we've got to leave him there, haven't we? Anyway, you're here to talk about bees, not Eddie. So let's think about what bees do in the winter. We already know at the end of the season, they throw out the male bees and the drones get killed, and it's just the female bees that go through the winter. As the temperature drops, the queen will stop laying, and hopefully she's going to stop laying altogether. And therefore there'll be no brood at all in the hive over winter. As the temperature starts to drop, they'll start to what we call cluster. They'll form a ball around the queen to keep her warm. And it's really important that they do that. The temperatures that they can create are fantastic. You can get anything between 20 and 30 degrees centigrade in the centre of that ball, keeping the queen warm, even though the outside temperature is maybe as low as -20, -30. So the problem is they require a lot of energy to do that, and that requires a lot of honey. Now in the UK, when I first started beekeeping, which was just after the earth had cooled and the dinosaurs had died out, well, actually about 25 years ago, we used to be recommended to leave about 35 pounds of honey on the hive for the bees. Nowadays, with climate change, they're forming the cluster later and they're breaking it earlier. And so what happens is we're leaving maybe 50, 55 pounds of honey, and even then we might need to actually top up in the spring. So throughout the winter, they're balled around the queen, they're moving a little bit around the hive looking for honey, and the bees on the outside are vibrating to keep everybody warm. But they don't always just stay in the hive. Bees, as we know, are very, very clean creatures, and they'll have to go outside every so often to what we euphemistically do cleansing flights. Bees will never foul in the hive, so they've got to get out occasionally for that. The other reason they've got to fly during the winter is because they need to eat honey. And unfortunately, honey can't be eaten by bees in its raw form. It's like cordial to us. So they've got to go out and collect water to be able to dilute that honey. And they need to dilute it to about a 50-50 ratio. And then they can eat it, and they use that honey to generate energy, and the energy generates heat. So through the winter, the main purpose is to keep that queen alive. Come the spring, the ball will break and away they go and start foraging. The problem we have at the moment with climate change being the way it is that that ball's breaking very early and maybe even several times during the winter because it's so mild. And once that happens, they go out, they look for forage, they don't find it. They come back, they've used a lot of energy. And that's why we need to leave a lot more honey on the hive. One of the truly amazing things about a hive in winter is the length of life of the bees. We know during the summer they only live about 6 weeks, 3 weeks working inside the hive and 3 weeks working outside the hive. But in winter they can live up to 6 months. So what causes this longevity? Well, fundamentally, they're not working. They haven't got any kids to look after, they're not out doing any work outside, and so there we go. Proof positive that hard work kills you. So that's what they're up to in the winter. There's a lot still going on inside that hive, but we mustn't open it because letting that heat out is only going to do damage to the bees. So leave your bees alone until you see them flying really well in the spring. So that's what happens with bees in the winter. They don't hibernate, but they do actually go somewhat dormant looking after their queen. Now, As it's winter, as I say, we can't really do any outside videos. So what we're going to do over the next few weeks is a number of these fireside chats asking questions that new beekeepers very often ask us. So we've already got one sorted for next week, but if you want to make a suggestion for anything, put it in the comments down below. In the meantime, Eddie's asleep in his chair over there, all's well in the world, so happy beekeeping, and we'll see you again next time.